Hi guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. We know we have not posted for a while. We shall mostly blame it on procrastination.
Destination.
Intro. Hi Bash, have you been?
I'm good, man. What's up, cakes?
Chilling, chilling.
I see the last time we did a video, you changed your hair.
Yeah, we have to keep moving. Man.
Trust.
During these times, this is the only time you can try new things. When you're employed, it's wild. They'll
It's
start giving
different.
you rules and regulations.
Tell me about it, man.
So anything interesting happening?
Not necessarily. I mean, uh, we've been on lockdown. It just
Mm-hmm.
opened up the country, so there's that. Started
Yeah.
working also, so we can
Okay.
also blame our posting on that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But all in all, I've been chill, fam.
Okay.
Just
Um,
Netflix and chilling.
Talking about Netflix.
Netflix.
Oh, so the other day we were having a conversation about 365. And I had said that I find it very strange. And what was your opinion? If you'd like
It's
to
the
tell
fact
everyone.
that most this movie has been watched like on Netflix stats that the gender watching the movie the most is female,
Mm-hmm.
and the most let's say vocal party on like promoting like to watch the movie, not saying that the movie is good, but
Mm-hmm.
to watch the movie is the female crowd,
Yeah.
and yet this movie portrays abuse and um what is it called derogatory behavior towards women. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and it's get praised rather not praised by pushed by women. So I
Yeah.
feel a bit off about it because women should be fight like currently they're fighting for rights and like for them to be equally treated, and the fact that now they're pushing such movies where it's basically putting down women, it just doesn't make sense to me. So
Um, I agree with you because like there's a singer songwriter named Duffy, and she wrote
Mhm.
a whole thing about how it happened to her. So when we were talking about it, I said my issue with it is I think it's been romanticized so much, forgetting that there are people who have actually experienced being abducted, trafficked. She talks about how she was dragged. She would find herself in another state. And this is a celebrity. We're not talking about someone who is not known for these things. So my issue with it is I've watched it and I can understand why a lot of women, it's like a 50 Shades situation, but 10 times worse.
Yeah.
That's just how I feel. Because he's a mob boss. He, I think because he's good looking, he can get away with it. But if it was like, and that's
An
another
average
problem.
looking guy.
Yeah, and that's another problem we have. Look at 50 Shades. If he was just, people would have been look at you, for instance. He's okay. So people would sit there and be like, if it was me. But if this guy looks like the main character, Massimo, hey, women would be like, yeah, me, I'm going.
Yeah.
But realistic
Like
in
take me,
your
capture
head,
my heart also. Capture
that is
everything.
Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah.
And my concern is that now people will start thinking it's normal.
Yeah, to be
And
abused in relationships. Yeah.
exactly, Ati, because he has money, because he has control. And I don't think, in my opinion, that's the way to go about things. But also, as we just checked, the ratings are very low. So you wonder, why are you okay with this? But also, Netflix allows everything and anything on their
True.
platform.
Yeah. No
They
filter.
can make money on it. That's all
Will
they
be
need.
put. Yeah.
Yeah, so
But
I think it's
it's an
wild.
odd thing. I don't know if it's the fact that, as you said, because these men look the way they do look, that it's allowed because it's feeding off a fantasy that
Mm-hmm.
most people, or rather, I'm guessing they believe most people have.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, I don't think it's a fantasy people want to live out like in real life. But at the
IRL.
same time, yeah, in IRL. But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, I don't think you should push it in the sense that it should be showed on TV, because there could be those out there who are weak and succumb to such like illusions that this is true love and accept abuse
Mm-hmm.
and say that this man loves me. I mean, look at him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's
It's
tricky.
frustrating.
Netflix is a tricky thing, man.
Yeah, it really is because I think they can get away with those type of things because every country has its own rules.
Yeah.
So if Kenya allows it, I think the government has not seen or heard of this movie because we both know how Kenya is. You put a
Yeah.
video on YouTube of girls shaking their bums, taken down. But Netflix, I think, gets away with it because they have so much content. And to weave through it and remove the good ones and leave the ones that are problematic is a very hard thing to do. So I don't know. It's a tough one.
It is, man. I mean, you can blame it also on the memes, because the memes are what like promote the movie in itself, because that's what got me to watch it. I didn't even see it advertised on Netflix until I saw memes about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, get your man who looks at you the way this nigga looks at you. I'm just like, nah, fam, that's just like rough.
That
That's
shouldn't be
left.
easy. Yeah. I
Definitely,
don't know.
definitely, man.
Yeah, memes also do push a lot of things. E.g., when we are talking about Tiger King, it was the memes. Everyone was like,
Yeah,
this thing, it's funny. Let me go watch it.
watch it. Yeah.
But, and I think that's the problem with the concept of Netflix. And especially here, they push the top 10 most watched things in the US. It does not necessarily mean it's a good movie or a good
Movie, yeah,
documentary, but
yeah.
because it has traction, they're gonna keep pushing it. So like if you're bored, you're gonna go and say, this is number one, let me watch it. Then you watch it, then you're like, whoa, what did I just you know?
Watch, yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what, because honestly, if you think about it, people who have had this had like happen to them, do you think they want it depicted in a way where it's so romanticized? Oh, this guy has a big painting with a lion. Oh, he's tattooed
Hmm.
and nice looking. And I don't necessarily think all abductors look like that. So the issue will then become the good looking ones will get away with it. And I'm not okay with that.
Maybe that's true. I mean, it can't be like half and half. It needs to be full on. Like, either you accept such things or we don't accept such things.
Yeah, but I think we also have to take into account the fact that a lot of people do have those kind of fetishes. And that's also another issue. I'm not necessarily saying having the fetish is bad, but if it's not in a controlled environment, then we're just going to allow everyone to abuse each other because, oh, I learned that's my fetish from watching this. And I think that is a serious problem that we're having. People are learning things without realistically understanding what the impact is on your life.
Life, yeah, true.
Yeah.
You
Mm.
keep watching it and not noticing that it's actually influencing you think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because that's why I think a lot of these women, if this happened to them in real life, they would not feel that way. And I understand why people who it's happened to them are concerned that this could happen in real life. Because you sit there and you say, okay, but he's giving me money, but we're traveling here, but we're doing that. And Netflix shows movies like that, so it must be normal. And I'm just like, it really isn't. I don't
It's
think.
not.
Yeah.
Lol. Anyway,
Hmm.
man, since we've been talking about memes,
Yeah.
let me introduce you to like I don't know if our fans or like our viewers know about the August and Jada and Will Smith debacle. So I got found out about it through memes,
Hmm.
and the first meme I saw was the fact that guys are looking to what's gonna happen in July,
Oh, I
right?
saw.
Yeah. Then they were like, "Oh no, July ain't bad, man," because August did Jada, and I was just like, "Whoa, what?"
Yeah. Hmm.
So Jada, if you don't know, Jada Pickett Smith is Will Smith's wife, and for years they've had a rumor of being in an open relationship.
Yeah.
And August, I think his last name is Alsina or
Hmm.
some weird shit like that. Sorry.
I
He's
think
a
that I
R&B.
just the name.
Sorry. So he's like a R&B singer, and I don't know what interview he was doing, but he confessed that him and Jada had a relationship, and he gave his whole heart to her, and
Mm-hmm.
like she broke his heart or something like that. So apparently she's about to open up about it in her show called The Red Talk. So we're just here to be like, what is really going on out here in America, fam? Like, is this true? Is this like here to distract us from what's really happening, or is this actually like legit news?
First of all, I'm going to say this over and over again. I don't rate people, period. That interview was an hour long. What people took from an hour long interview was 5 minutes where he said he loved this woman and he got practically allowance from Will to do whatever he was doing. This is my issue with how it went. Why is it that now we are making it seem like he's the worst person on this earth? Bruh. This is my thing. If they're in an open relationship, well and good. I personally think he was snitching because his album just came out. So to me, it just seemed a bit like clickbait because people have been knowing. And the fact
I didn't
that they
even know his
want,
album dropped.
you see, so like I listen to his music. So for me, and he has a docu-series on YouTube about his experiences. And this is the thing, because I'm a fan, I was not gonna sit here and say, okay, 5 minutes out of an 1 hour interview will make sense. It's like someone now watching our video and say, oh, Bash said this at this and this time. That's all we're going to take. He talks about addiction. He talks about how she helped him. He talks about so many other things, his life experiences, his documentary. And I'm just like, guys, this is what we do with our free time, for real. With all the information he has given you, you sit and you take 5 minutes out of an hour's interview and run with it. And this is my thing. If they're in an open relationship and
I
like,
guess it's because they're preaching this Uncle Phil and I've forgotten the French prince's auntie's name, but I know that the uncle is Uncle Phil. So I guess it's because they preach like this wholesome family, this black,
that's a character.
wholesome, true family. It is a character, but you can't portray your character as you can't act in real life and then have a different real life. You know what I mean? Because in interviews or in public, they act like they're this wholesome family, but in
Do you
secret,
think that
apparently they're
black
holding up.
people are being held to unfair standards when it comes to
No, of
relationships?
course, just even in living standards, basically, yeah.
And that's my argument. Because I sit here and I say, if you're in an open relationship, the only issue I have with this whole situation is guys were saying that he had this relationship with her when he was 21. I think he's like 27 now. The kids, their kids are so close in age with August that that's the problem. And I'm like, but as an adult, by the time you're choosing to be in an open relationship and you're married, if you didn't take it into account,
But those kids are young, though. Is it like, what's her name again? Willow. Isn't Willow like 20 something?
But that's the
In the young
thing.
20s. All of them are in the young 20s.
What they're saying is if you're in your 20s, that means when he was staying with you when he was 21, they could sit down and have conversations. So they could be friends. So I think it's also an issue of, because they're so close in age, isn't it weird that this guy stayed with you, had a relationship with your mother, even said he's okay with dying because he fully gave himself to your mother. And this is my thing. I don't know if it's really disrespect, but my issue is the whole thing of them being held to an unrealistic standard because they're black. That's just how I feel.
I mean, I agree with that, but at the same time, I mean, if they were in an open relationship, like because they're public figures, everyone expects them to be open about everything in their life. So the multiple times they've been asked, no, that is a problem. That's the thing. But that's why when you become a celebrity, you become what they initially call a public figure.
Mm-hmm.
So your life is open to the public
Mm-hmm.
for viewership because that's what you've allowed.
Yeah.
So the multiple times that they've been asked on whether this relationship of theirs is open or not, they haven't really been upfront about it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's people basically picking this moment to be like, since basically this is a moment for exposés, they
Mm-hmm.
want to expose these guys to be like, yo, you're in an open relationship. Just say yes or no. And
But you
then
see,
now
that's
them
what I'm
holding
saying.
off on it
Yeah.
is also just adding up to the drama because they could have just cleared the air and be like, yeah, I did it. Cool. Easy. People
I
will
think
move.
I think this is a very bad thing to say, but there's another podcast I watched, and one of the men on the podcast said that, for lack of a better way to explain it, Jada has the POP. Like, she is the extreme version of the POP. For those of you who don't know what that means, you have to go watch listen to our podcast, and
On
you will find.
SoundCloud.
Exactly. Moving on. So I think because she has that, she can get away with a lot. People say Will changed so much in like the last 10 years that it seems like his opinions, because when you watch him on the table talk, you can tell that she shifts the conversation, you know. So imagine that in a relationship. If I come to you, if we were dating and I come to you and let's say I'm the one who is powerful, not necessarily wearing the pants, but I have majority control over our life. It might not be financial, but you get what I mean.
Yeah.
I can then say to you, you know what? I don't think I am happy with the way things are going, and I need to be in an open relationship. But people forget that they are a brand, right? Before she's Jada Pinkett Smith, the Smiths, all of them are a full brand. And I think that's where the fear comes from. Because we're already talking about how Black people ridicule each other for having outside opinions or outside ideas that don't suit necessarily the Black culture. So
Yeah.
open relationships, BDSM, those type of things. To Black people, why? But, and I'm gonna say this, and I might be dragged for it, when a Black man cheats, it's no. But because Jada is out here, out of pocket with another man, and he was staying in your house.
It's
Oh
a
my
problem.
God. But good, yeah. So, I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of hypocrisy behind the whole situation. I believe they should be honest about it, but we forget it's their personal life. I don't have to
Exactly,
justify
yeah.
anything in the world. You know, I can deny it. It might be true, but you're not with me at home. So even if I'm a public figure and I decide I want to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what are you going to do to me? You know? So, but I still don't rate people. That interview was an hour long. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I guess I'll be part of those people, man, because all I watched was the 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, I get
But
it. I mean, an hour
it's
long interview is wild.
yeah. I mean, it's strange because like what you just said, if she has the POP and like if he's in a situation where like maybe he wasn't the one comfortable with the open relationship, that's why they couldn't generally come out
Yeah.
about it. Because I
Mm-hmm.
mean, he did come out on a video on Facebook, I think the other day, and he was like, he looked like he'd been crying. In the comments, the comments were like, this man came out looking like he was crying for 20 hours in the bathroom.
Oh,
Then guys are like, it's
shit.
because he knows August is next month. And I was like, dead.
You see, that's my thing. People are so out of
uh,
pocket. It's so
yeah,
unnecessary. That's a grown up. He's not a small
yeah.
guy.
So it could be an actually
That's
situation
a
he's
big
going
guy.
through and he's not comfortable about it. And like, we're making it worse.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
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 Oh,
So I mean, America is a strange place, fam. Like this thing for um black people in the movement are going on. I mean, Black Lives Matter. That's a guarantee.
bare
But
facts.
there are
Yeah.
facts. But the way people are moving about it is a bit iffy
Mm-hmm.
with certain movements. Like I'm a Formula One fan, so
For
the
those
race
of you
that.
who don't know, for those of us who don't hear the end of it, we've been knowing. Uh-huh.
So Formula One, the race happened in Austria this last weekend, and
Mm-hmm.
on the grid there's 22 drivers, and out of the 22, 6 stood, and the rest of them, I'm not trying to do the math right now, the
Mm-hmm.
rest of them knelt down. So those who were left standing didn't or felt awkward in the end of that, because in the interviews they were being asked like why didn't they kneel, and you could see it in their faces. It's not like they chose not to kneel, so they didn't know exactly what kneeling would really bring or what change it
Mm-hmm.
would really bring. So they were a
Yeah.
bit confused on why everyone around them was kneeling. So
Yeah.
Lewis Hamilton, being the only black driver in Formula One, is trying to make a change, which is good. But the way he's going about it is a bit, it's not fair for the other drivers, because it's making it look like the other drivers don't care about change. Because in the interview he said how proud he was that one of the teams knelt. So it makes it look like he's saying screw the other teams for not
Mm-hmm.
helping end racism, and yet each of the teams
Yeah.
are doing their own way to stop racism. But it's
Mm-hmm.
because if you don't do it the way we want you to do it, or the way the public says you should do it, it means you're
Mm-hmm.
not really trying to support the agenda.
You're not for the cause. Yeah.
Yeah. So the fact that he's kneeling now, and I'll post the meme of like, or the GIF of Kaepernick,
Yeah.
who
I've been ready for 3 years. I've been denied for 3 years.
knelt 3 years ago. I think, was it? I don't know if it's 2017.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he knelt during the national anthem in America. He lost his job like immediately. Like Trump said, you should
Yeah, they
fire such a
dropped.
man. So they
Mm-hmm.
dropped him from the NFL. So for 3 years, black people have like reposted the thing, but they've done no action towards trying to show that they do support him. Because I feel like when you post, oh, my prayers and thoughts are out with you, I mean, that's the most useless thing you could ever tell someone.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather either you like donate to a cause or try and use your platform to educate people than just say, oh, my thoughts and prayers are out with you, or post my face on your Instagram and make me feel like, yeah, now I'm being supported. Like, it's not really doing much,
Mm-hmm.
because back then he even had to admit that he did try to support him by getting a red helmet in the American race
Mm-hmm.
during 2017, and with Kaepernick's number above his helmet. But he was told by someone in his team that doing such a move could be risky towards his career. So
Yeah.
obviously at that time, he chose his career first. Yet
Mm-hmm.
Kaepernick, a man who was just beginning his career and knew just how far he could go, realized that doesn't matter as long as my people are continuing to suffer. If my people
Mm-hmm.
continue to suffer, then it doesn't matter how high I go, because it's not going
That's
to help
true.
anybody.
Yeah.
So, of course, not everyone is ready to make that sacrifice. But if you're willing to go with this cause and willing to bring about change, then you have to risk such things. You have to show you're willing to risk it.
I get that. I guess for people in big positions, like Lewis Hamilton, it's not the same as those of us who, let's say, are not even close financially to them. And that's the thing. I think it comes down to like money. Are you willing to lose a bag to move the movement forward? And this is my argument with a lot of people. You see people on social media posting and this and that. And when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about public figures. What are you doing to move the movement forward other than posting on Instagram?
Yeah, because I
And
mean,
I'm just
those
like,
likes don't go to them; they go to you.
exactly. And I always tell people I might not post, but I donate. I sign petitions. I find out ways I can help that I'm not proving a point on social media. I don't have to prove anything to anyone. And that's the issue with how things work nowadays. If you look at someone like Colin Kaepernick, realistically, he should have been back in the NFL by now.
Yeah.
But they're trying to make it seem like they've been trying to get him back. You see interviews where guys are asked straightforward, so are you going to put him back in the NFL? you'll find them going around it. They're changing names of teams, but they're not dealing with the main
issue.
problem. And that's my issue with how people are dealing with this situation. You say, we are doing this, we are not going to do this, but what have you done in the institution or you as a person to move the movement forward? And this is my thing, right? We had a conversation the other day with our friend, and the assumption was that me and Bash are liberals. And I'm not American. This is my thing. I'm not American. My opinions personally are based on policies, not a large majority. And that's the problem I've noticed with social media. If you choose one, you can't choose the other. We're blanketing everything, right? And I think it's important to have your own opinions and choose how you're going to push the agendas that are the correct agendas. So even when we talk about Lewis Hamilton, what has he done? Past having interviews, past, because I understand the fear, because you're the only black person. So they'll say, oh, this is just another black person in Formula One. This is not mean that we're being unfair, but he's here, you know. And I don't think that's the way to go about things, but realistically, it happens. If you're the only black person in an institution and you say, you know what, I'm not willing to sit here and let you people tell me how I'm going to do my hair, because that's happened to me. And I just said, once you guys have a black person on your board, I will be willing to listen to your input when it comes to my hair. But until then, so I get what he was trying to do when he came to the US. But with the amount of push you have, what are you doing with it, you know? Because if those of us who don't have push are making the efforts to sign, to do this, to do that, people have lost jobs. I mean, realistically. But
for saying such things,
Exactly. But we're not going to sit here and also allow people to say you're an ally or you're a celebrity and you can do this, but you're not really doing it. Because we cannot see the follow-up of what you're trying to portray as doing the work, it becomes a bit hard. But this thing of social media pleasing people and posting and not doing anything with that post, I cannot get behind.
Because the famous Queen Beyonce, with her, I know, right?
Gonna be cancelled.
Cancelled for real.
Yes.
She posted this thing about, I don't know, some African videos. I didn't even try and watch it, but I just saw the title. And what makes me laugh is that I believe she came to South Africa for a performance, and she released a whole video on her tour, and South Africa showed her for 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just okay, wow, okay, that's a guessing that's how much she appreciates Africa as a country. Then she goes on to, I believe she performed between 2007 and now in the NFL, right? Or who was it who performed?
Yes, she did.
And yet Kaepernick was thrown off the NFL, and yet they all said, let's cancel the NFL. Yet the Super Bowl has been the most watched sport event since then, continuously.
Yeah.
And black people are continuously performing in this show, yet they push the agenda of let's cancel the NFL for 3 years.
You remember when we talked about it, and I think the most important thing we have to understand is a lot of people, I think, take securing the bag above moving the movement.
The agenda. Yeah.
And first of all, me and Madam Miss B, the Queen B, X-May, someone had posted a Nigerian. They posted a tweet. I think it was a tweet. I'm not sure. I can't remember where it was. But they said, we do not appreciate people trying to change what Africa is to suit them. You come here for 5 minutes. Now you want to tell us that we walk around with face painting and this and that. And I'm just like, Because recently also I've been seeing videos of people on TikTok posting how the CNN will show parts of Africa that are not the real Africa. Of course,
Africa,
we
yeah.
still have impoverished areas, but there's this agenda of making Africa look like it's all bush, and I'm not okay with that because you're making money off of a culture, right? But as Burna Boy said, for Black lives to matter, the ones in Africa have to matter first. And
True.
it comes down to the smallest things, like you deciding that you're going to use ridiculous prints or make your video seem Africa themed, yet where did you shoot it?
Who did you shoot it with? Who's African there?
You
Oh,
know,
because they're black, they're African.
exactly. That's the thing.
Wow.
That's the thing. And
Yeah.
this is why, like, leave alone the fact that I know you don't like Black Panther, but I feel at least with them, they put in the effort.
No, they
We
did
could see
try.
our prints. We could see our history. And it was, of course, it was over exaggerated to make the movie, but you could see the real effort put in. With a lot of celebrities, you find it's a bit, for lack of a better way to put it, it's whitewashed. It's like, we're going to pick this, and that, and then we're going to say it's Africa themed. But we're
Yeah,
all
I don't know why
just...
they have the right to choose what's African and what's not, and yet we have no right to make that choice.
I watched a video the other day, and it was like, I think he's a comedian, I could not fully tell, but what he was saying is that he's in front of a big crowd, and he says, the biggest mistake people make is underestimating Africa and Africans. And it happens all over the world. You will walk into a room, as soon as you say, I'm from Kenya, I'm from Zimbabwe, I'm from Nigeria, they've already put you at a lower standard. And that is the issue. They've done that to us for so long, and I don't even think it's based on being in America. I think it's just how it is. If you're from the African continent, it does not matter if you are pale or if you are dark as the night sky, they don't rate you. That's just what it is.
Yeah.
So I think that's why they can get away with it. Because if we don't stand up and say that's not what Africa is, then what are we doing? We're allowing them to push a narrative that is not ours. And that's why I'm a very big fan of Burna Boy. Because I sit here and I say, okay, cool, he's doing music with so-and-so, he's done music with Pop Smoke, but he's never lost his sound.
He's never lost his touch with Africa.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we can make fun of Davido, we can make fun of Wizkid, but look at it realistically. These people have done music with big people, but they've never changed the accent. The accent will not change. They will not contribute to suit your agenda. So that one is African. And I think we need to continue like that to a point where when we walk into rooms, even with other Black people, as Africans, we can sit there proudly and say, yeah, I'm from Kenya and I have an accent. And so, because when we go into African settings, you'll be proud of your accent. Us as Kenyans, we say, we don't have accents. That's a lie. But when you walk into another room with other Africans, you'll be like, yeah, maybe we do.
I have an accent.
So I think without that, I have literally diverted the full conversation, but what I was trying to say was we need to be able to say that's not okay. And I think the more famous you are as a Black person, the more you can get away with those type of things. Because there was a song Tiana Taylor released a while ago, and it was like meant to be African themed, and I was just like, what is this?
What part of Africa are you from, fam?
And I think it's lack of asking, because knowledge is there. I think we've reached a point where we're so ready to be Afrocentric, but not know what Afrocentric is.
Yes, yeah.
There's no guidebook that says this is okay, this isn't. So you can get away with it, but for how long?
True.
It's just one of those things.
I think it's like the thing your friend sent you, how black people believe that what is this, that they can be racist, or that they're the ones who have like the knowledge of everything. So you're the one who's wrong, you're the oppressor. We're the ones who know everything. So it's a point where when they start preaching about the African heritage and the African truth, then the world sees that as that's what's supposed to be African. That as guys it as like braids African, even though braids is Asian. I mean, it is. We did braid our hair, but it's not an African thing. It's Asians did it. The Aztecs braided the hair.
Yeah.
So like braiding was everywhere. So like the fact that it's because the Black Americans have the bigger voice of the Black community, then their word is what's taken as everything. Then we're second grade to that. So in a sense that if Black people can be racist and as guys, then what are we then? What can we be? Because we're like the bottom denominator, clearly.
I think ours is considered more xenophobic, but I don't know. That's just how I feel about a lot of these things. The braid thing, I think for them is more painful because that Black people, when they came here, their hair was cut, right? Because they would sow seeds into their hair to help them when they get to wherever they were going. They were considered more beautiful with braids. So it's not the same. I understand the pain to a certain extent because it comes with the history of why they don't want other people wearing the braids and taking account for the braids. Yet when Black people do it, it's considered ghetto. And that's the problem with America. There's so much underlined pain that's why they have the voice they do, which is a good thing because some things just should not fly, period. Yeah. But I also think, like for instance, the Kardashians, do you think they should be allowed to wear braids and lay their edges?
I mean, I don't think, personally, I don't think anyone can own a hairstyle. I mean, if you straighten their hair, then you're taking the white hairstyle. So.
Oh yeah, I've gotten
all that. Black women don't straighten your hair out here.
That's the thing.
Don't wear weaves because weaves is for white people. I mean, you see, now we're trying to say like, okay, you can't copy anything Black, but Black people can copy everything else. Because the one thing I can say Black people truly own is the fade, because that came from the army, and Black people were like, we're not going bold, we're fading. That's the one thing you say we can own, and we can fight for that. But braids, even like dreadlocks, it's not necessarily like it's a Black thing. It's more of a Jamaican thing. It's more of the Ethiopian thing. But I mean, most people's hair does knots naturally, so it's like the natty dreads. Your hair naturally knots, so you can't really own such a style. But I mean, it is Black African hair that knots as easily. I don't understand
the gray area because
it is, or even like coloring your hair.
Yeah, of course. No, but as I said, I've experienced being told before when my hair was relaxed, oh, you like these white people, that's why you perm your hair.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, it's because my hair is nappy. I have 4C hair, fam. Like even now I struggle with my hair. So I would rather choose the easier way out. It might not necessarily suit you, but for me as a person, it just makes sense. But I don't know, fam. Like I feel like
it is a gray
those
area.
type of things is a gray area, and I'm not willing to say either or is correct because I understand where Black people are coming with their braids, and the discrimination they faced for doing those type of things. But with that said, social media is a wild place.
It is.
You could literally do anything. I'm telling you, if you went and permed your hair and you are a big figure, they'd start telling you want to be white? Is that what you say? So
Because I put in like
it's,
Jerry Curls. And yet the most famous black artist, Michael Jackson, Jerry Curls.
but that was a different generation. Rick James, all of them had straight hair.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I think the issue with hair and culture and all these things is they kind of maneuver through history, okay? So today it might be okay, tomorrow it might not. Now we're allowed to have nappy hair. Nappy. I don't like that word, never have. I think natural hair is the better word. But I know my friends have faced
Nappy sounds so
ridicule.
unkept.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But like people, even in Kenya, have faced ridicule for having the afros. So it's a never-ending cycle of learning what is okay and what is not. I just think that's what I would, because personally, it's just the same way if someone walked up to you and just touched your hair. Do you think that's okay? Should we all just go around touching each other's hair?
It's like, am I a dog? No.
Exactly. So it's the same thing where people tell you don't touch my crown. Because for a long time, we were not allowed to wear our hair the way we wanted. So, as I said, it's based in history and the pain people have suffered, the discrimination they've suffered due to having natural hair, that is a different type to Eurocentric ideals, which I don't understand. But yeah.
It's weird. It's true. It's a very odd gray area because there's also that movie on Netflix for the girl who sells wigs. And all those wigs were like styled for like white ladies' hair because they're all straightened out and they're really big and puffy. So I don't know. It's an odd thing. Also, the fact of who can choose what's right and what's not right, and what one can do and what one cannot do, is a very tricky area. I mean, you can't please everybody.
Facts.
So there's gonna have to be someone out there who's gonna be upset about something. So
isn't that what freedom of speech is, though? You can be angry about anything. That's the thing. I'm sure there are people who have watched our videos and don't agree with some of our opinions. You're allowed to be angry about it, you know? Emotion is something you're allowed to have. What you do with it is where now is white or black.
Like, yeah.
Lack of a better way to explain it. It's not a gray area anymore. So I just think if you're in a position, as we finish, if you're in a position of power or not, I think you should stand for what you believe in, and not only on social media. That's just how I feel. I think
it's speak louder than words.
Exactly.
Social media is all words. There's no action there.
Exactly. So if it is donating, you don't have to show people that you've donated. You know, at the end of the day, you're doing it not necessarily for your own. It should be a personal choice, not the pressure of the world, right?
Yeah.
But with that said, silence is also not an option, you know? So...
Because as a public figure, I think silence from like people like us it's not necessarily like it's accepted, but it's understood because, I mean, we don't have a voice.
You're considered a public figure, Bash.
No, I mean, no, because we have
people who watch
the
your
page.
video.
We have the page, yes. As the page, we have a voice. But as an individual, I don't think like Emmanuel Bashir has a voice. Like, in quotes, obviously, I can speak. I'm talking to you right now, but I mean, I don't have like a social, like public voice. You know, people like Kanye or people like Lewis Hamilton. See, those guys actually have a voice because they'll have almost like 1.3 million people listen to them. So at that point, when you have a voice, I feel like you shouldn't be silent. But also at the same time, you don't have to explain everything you're doing.
Yeah, of course you don't have to. But I think still, even if you have 10 followers on Instagram, right? And out of those 10 followers, you could maybe change the mind of 2 or 3. You continue a cycle that will change the world. But if we sit here and say, because I have 10 followers, I'm not going to talk about it, then you're also choosing to not educate your friends. You know, just the same way we can have debates that we will not necessarily agree on, you would have left someone with the thought of, maybe I should do more research. so that even if I don't agree, I understand the argument better, So yeah, that's just
Personally, I have no followers. No
Yeah,
socials.
you're not on the social.
I'm a nomad. I flag the neutral flag, fam.
Do you fly the neutral flag on everything? No, you don't. That's the thing.
I do. I mean, I have an opinion on things, but I don't say my opinion because it's my opinion. You don't have to listen to it.
True.
Yeah.
Okay.
Easy. So yeah.
Don't forget to follow, like, and
And
subscribe.
subscribe, man. Hit that bell icon and all that stuff. Ooh. Ding
Yeah.
dong.
Thanks for watching.
Peace.